I was thinking about this class, about getting together, a discussion about Teshuva, and thinking back to the history of this group that we have gotten together over the span of many years. And it's in that context that I'd like to mention and dedicate a class, Le'ili Nishmas, Lisa Marcus's mother, Mrs. Green, Yehudis Bas Avraham Kahas, going back many, many years. It should be Le'ili Nishmasa. I was thinking about how much easier it would be to talk about and think about Teshuva if we had a little bit of support from the world around us. As we'll see when we define what Teshuva is, and certainly what healthy Teshuva is, we'll discover that it's a reconnection to that which is transcendent in our world, and a moving away from the idea of kochi v'otzem yodi, which is that I am the master of my own fate, of my own destiny, and that I can make anything happen that I want. Nothing can get in my way. And here we are living in a time when it's being broadcast. The Almighty is broadcasting on a daily basis that we are not the masters, we are the servants, and we are not the masters of our fate. I found it interesting that the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros, he spoke at his General Assembly and he said the following words: "For all the economic, military, and technological might of nations, we have been humbled by this very small microbe. If this virus is teaching us anything, it is humility. Time for humility." And I imagine how, if that message was being broadcast by many leaders of the world, how much easier it would be for us to align ourselves with that humility. Imagine that not the director of the World Health Organization, the leader of a significant country, would announce publicly that the present situation reminds us of our frailty, that we are in the hands of the Creator of heaven and earth, and that we must humbly bow our heads to Him in prayer. The Prime Minister of Israel tried to say something along these lines and was shouted down by the interviewer, who said that we believe in Machon Weizmann, in the Weizmann Institute, not in any higher power. He was clever enough and he merited to be able to respond to her that in the Weizmann Institute, they're also praying to Hashem. I said to myself, if such an announcement were made by world leaders, it would make our job so much easier. And then I said to myself, almost a little bit cynically, that it'd be nice if such an announcement and a meditation were to be made in the shul before our tefillos, before our prayers. And then I came back full circle to thinking about this get-together, because I said, maybe I should premise and preface our get-together on a minute of contemplation before carrying on with the discussion. And so if you'll allow me to do something that I certainly have never done before, I am going to, if the host will allow me to, I will share my screen. And the host will have to allow me to share my screen. Okay, and here is, if you will be so kind as to join me in contemplating this for 1 minute, please.
אני מאמין באמונה שלמה שהבורא יסברך שמו. אני מאמין באמונה שלמה שהבורא יסברך שמו. אני מאמין באמונה שלמה שהבורא יסברך שמו. הוא בורא ומנהיג לכל הבריאים, והוא לבדו עושה ויעשה, עושה ויעשה, עושה ויעשה לכל המעשים.
You had an opportunity to think and consider that we are the creation of Hashem, and Hashem directs every aspect of our world. And interestingly, I'd like to focus for a moment on the fact that the Gemara tells us that there were 7 things that were created before the world was created. The list includes Torah, Teshuva, the Beis HaBechira, the Beis HaMikdash, the Kisei HaKavod, Gehenim, Gan Eden, and the last is the name of the Melech HaMashiach. 7 things that were created before the world was created. And you ask yourself, why does Teshuva need to be created before there are people? I mean, it would seem as though it makes sense to institute or bring Teshuva once a person has done something wrong. But the Pasuk says very clearly, and Moshe says, and we say it every Shabbos in the Psukei de Zimra, that before there was anything in the world, before there was a world, Vatecholel Eretz v'Sevel, before there was any creation, Vatomer Shuvu b'nei Adam, Hashem said to man to do Teshuva. What is Moshe Rabbeinu teaching us in that Tehillim? But if we look carefully, we'll notice that all 7 things are the ways in which a human being struggles and connects with that which is kadosh, with that which is transcendent, with that which is eternal. All of the things that are there are the devices and the tools. As we know, Hashem said, I created the Yetzer Hara, and I created Torah as its antidote. That lends us to the message, the Beis HaMikdash, and the throne, the Kisei HaKavod, which a person aspires to become close to the throne of Hashem, the Kisei HaKavod, the Gan Eden, Gehenim, and of course the Melech HaMashiach. These are all ways in which a man can stay on course in the course of his life. Now, if a person doesn't do anything wrong, why do we need all of these helps to stay on course? And the answer is because we were designed with competing pull. We are actually designed to need these 7 things. It's not that these 7 things are given to us because we have a tendency to get it wrong. We have a tendency to get it wrong in order to give life to all of these 7 things. These 7 things become meaningful because we have a tendency to get it wrong. Let me just make that point a little bit more clear. Every person has a pull downward. That's called the gravitational pull. Whether it's on a physical level, on an emotional level, as a gravitational pull, to be angry or to be indulgent or to essentially to claim the whole world as his own. But he also has a transcendent pull. The transcendent pull is that which gives an answer to the person's neshama. And that transcendent pull gives a person a great deal of satisfaction, of meaning, of purpose, and it's a pull. In fact, it's a pull which the Mishnah tells us in Pirkei Avos that we need to make a calculation as to which pull we're going to go with. After all, if we go with the gravitational pull, then we're sacrificing or forfeiting the transcendent pull. If we go with the transcendent pull, then we are forfeiting the kick or the high or whatever it is that would be the fleeting momentary pleasure of the gravitational pull. So the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says that you have to actually make a calculation about this. You have to work it through. And what allows us, what helps us, what enables us to work it through is the fact that these 7 things exist in the world. If Torah didn't exist in the world, if Teshuva didn't exist in the world, if these things didn't exist in the world, it would be impossible for us to transcend, because our transcendence, we wouldn't have the pull, we wouldn't have the ability to reach above, to reach that which is beyond. And that leads us to the first step about healthy teshuva, and that is that if a person doesn't feel the pull to teshuva inside themselves, then whatever they do by way of teshuva is going to be unhealthy. The sense of teshuva has to be, I was built for this. I'm designed for this. I am, if you want to refer to a person this way, I am a teshuva making machine. Why? Because I'm always being pulled to that which is gravitational pull. And I always have to struggle to transcend and to align myself with a transcendent pull. So in a sense, I'm a teshuva making machine. The animals below us are not a teshuva making machine because they don't have a transcendent pull. The angels are not teshuva making machines because they do not have a gravitational pull. We are designed to be teshuva making machines. And so for an experience to be healthy, it has to feel like it's my experience. It cannot feel as though somebody told me that if I'm going to be a bad boy or a bad girl, so there's going to be consequences. That's not teshuva. That might restrict me somewhat. It's not teshuva. Teshuva is in alignment with the transcendent pull. And that's why it preceded creation. It has to affirm. Teshuva means affirming something which is satisfying for my neshama. Nobody else can tell me what my neshama enjoys. That's something that I need to discover. I need to discover what is satisfying and meaningful for my neshama. Obviously, it also includes diminishing that which is only satisfying for the body or for the base interests of the person, which is a gravitational pull. And so the first step about healthy teshuva is that if it doesn't feel like what you want to do, then it's not going to build. Now, there are levels of wanting to do it. A person can want to do it, and then he exercises certain behaviors, and the behaviors affirm that which he wants to do. There's a rule about that, that whatever it does, Posuk and Mishlei, Kol darkei ish yashar be'einav, what a person does, he tends to affirm as being the good thing to do. So we use that system. A person knows from a very profound place within himself that there's a transcendent pull and he wants to be closer to that. Then he starts doing things that are aligned with that transcendent pull. If I really had this transcendent pull well worked out in my system, what would I do? And what happens as a result is that his behaviors help him strengthen the transcendent pull. So we have the continuous process, it's like a cycle, where a person gets in touch with the transcendent pull. Yes, it really would be meaningful to have more of an alignment with Hashem. I heard recently about the 155 people who were on the Miracle of the Hudson, the flight, US Air Flight 1549, that ended up landing in the Hudson River. Of course, the pilot, Sully, who has been praised for his leading this miracle. And there's 155 people who were interviewed who felt that they were given back their life. They spoke about it with great emotion. They were given back their life and a new opportunity to live. Of the 155, and I can't say that I listened to every single one or heard about every single one. One woman decided to leave her job and to volunteer for the Red Cross and start a family. She felt that this moment of having been given her life back was something that was meaningful to her, and she wanted to do something about it. The other ones also had a great deal of emotion when speaking about the thought that they were going to leave the world. But it was more about whether they had left a good life insurance policy. So the person, if they suddenly are jolted into a sense of, wow, I do want to have a connection with the Creator, then it means an affirmation that I want to associate with that transcendent goal. Then to choose something that helps them with that affirmation, etc. Now, what ends up going wrong, and why is it that so many people who try to do tshuva get it so wrong? And that is because built into this system, there's a possibility of a person not understanding that is a tshuva making machine and starting to think that he is supposed to be a perfect person. And that's where the system starts going haywire and people start doing tshuva in a way that's very unhealthy. And that essential perfectionism, which says, I'm not a tshuva making machine, I'm supposed to be doing it right. Well, guess what? Even if you're doing it right, you're still a tshuva making machine because you are in a struggle. No matter how right you're doing it, you're still a tshuva making machine. The tshuva of no matter how far along the person is in aligning himself with the transcendent pull, he will never be in a position, as long as he's alive, that he doesn't also have a gravitational pull. And so given that tshuva is a process of aligning oneself with a transcendent pull, then perfectionism really doesn't have any place. If anything, it's really a sort of a lazy man's approach. If I want to get it right, I don't want to have to deal with tshuva anymore. I just want to get it completely right. And if I get it all right, then this ongoing work of having to align myself, I don't want to have to deal with that. I just want to get it all right. Something like finishing your homework in 3rd grade. I just want to finish all my homework and get it all done. I want to get it done right. But the basic thrust is to get the homework done, is to get it over with. So the first thing that goes wrong is that people associate teshuva with perfectionism, and that invariably leads them to trying to get out of the teshuva circle. They're trying to get out of the teshuva system. We don't want to get out of the teshuva system. Teshuva is one of the things that preceded creation. We are designed to be teshuva makers. And so the notion of getting out of the system by being perfect is itself a denial of our core existence. Our core existence is as a teshuva making machine. And the other thing that is very common, which I think bears mention if we're going to just talk about healthy teshuva, we probably should also mention the unhealthy teshuva, and that is the difference between remorse and guilt. So remorse is a focus on the loss associated with an error of alignment. That means that if I really want to be aligned with my transcendent pull, that's really what I want. And it brings me joy, it brings me meaning, it brings me satisfaction. Then when I get drawn into something gravitational, I actually feel bad. I actually feel like I missed out. I actually feel like there's something that I would want to recover. And so there's a sense of remorse. And if it doesn't feel like I missed out, if it just feels like I was bad, then it probably is an ally of the old perfectionism. And it is not teshuva. Teshuva has associated with it remorse because there was something that really was meaningful for me. I have discovered my sense of alignment with that which is meaningful. Imagine what that would look like in the gravitational pull. Let's say there's somebody on a college campus who missed a certain party, and they love those kind of parties. Those parties are great. They missed out on that kind of party because they didn't see the sign on the bulletin board. They didn't see the sign announcing the party. So from now on, I'm going to make sure that I walk by that board. I'm not going to walk to class. I'm not going to take the shortcut and walk to class without going over to that board because I missed out. I missed out on something that was a very strong pull for me. I missed out on a party that I would have liked. So now, if you just imagine that on the other side, I look forward to the transcendent aspect of myself. I look forward to it. I enjoy it. It gives me meaning. It's special. I feel the difference between that which is just mundane and that which is transcendent. And so I feel bad. I missed out. I was drawn into, or I tried to take a shortcut, and the shortcut brought me to a gravitational pull. That's remorse. And something that I'm going to take steps to try to make sure that that doesn't happen again, because I feel like I missed out. Not because I was a bad boy, but because I missed out. Guilt, on the other hand, is really an attempt to have it both ways. That means I want to align myself and remain aligned with a gravitational pull, but I want to avoid that gnawing sense of, like, that reminder, that constant reminder that we're supposed to be aligning ourselves with a transcendent pull. That reminder, it bothers me because it won't go away. And so I feel guilty, but it's not a sense of remorse. It's a sense of guilt. It's a sense that I really want to somehow stay aligned with the gravitational pull. But I just don't like that gnawing feeling. Well, that gnawing feeling, it turns out, is actually your best friend. That gnawing feeling could show you that there's something that you would enjoy even more than the gravitational. There's something that would even give you a more profound, more meaningful, and transcendent sense of yourself. And if you want to align with that, you say, yeah, but what am I supposed to do with a gravitational pull? Oh, now you've got a good question. Now you're actually on a good road, because now the question is, how will I align myself with that which gives me a great deal of pleasure and meaning? And that doesn't mean that I'm not aware of the pleasure of the gravitational pull. I am, but I'm able to make a calculation. I'm able to look at both sides. Guilt doesn't allow you to look both sides. Guilt, it focuses itself on the gravitational pull and tries to somehow address or get rid of the transcendent pull. And unfortunately, there are many people who think that guilt has something to do with teshuva. And as I think, and I hope that we've made it very clear, that anything that does not feel as though it is helping me get closer to the transcendent pull is not my friend when it comes to teshuva. Because in the end of the day, whatever teshuva is going to be for me, it is going to be in alignment with that which is transcendent within myself, and that which therefore gives me a great deal of meaning and satisfaction and promise. So the weeks running up to Rosh Hashanah, although I think in our times we need year-long Elul. I mean, we need this all year long. We're up against such odds of a world broadcasting at such high frequencies, the broadcasting, that the only thing that counts is a gravitational pull. And even when you try to do something good, you should really do it basically on a gravitational pull. It's such a strong message that we probably need Elul all around. But in any event, the run-up to Rosh Hashanah is meant to be like fog lights on a foggy night, or a windshield wipers on a rainy, foggy night, meant to clear the confusion. And that confusion is all over us. It settles in on our lenses in the course of the year. And we're meant to use these fog lights. Like, wait a second, I'm about to be given back my life. I'm one of those 155 people. I hope and I pray that I'll be given back my life. What am I going to do with that? Well, that helps clear up some of the fog. But don't just speak about it with emotion. What do I discover about myself? What do I discover that I didn't perhaps pay attention to? That I like a proper relationship with Hashem. I like when I'm acknowledging that things are not in my control or in others' control, and getting angry at people for getting it wrong. And I like it when I allow that it's in Hashem's hands. I like that part of myself. I like when I am able to share that which I have with others. I like it. I enjoy when I'm not trying to hoard all of the world's wealth into myself. I like it when I participate in the community. I like it when I do things anonymously. I like it when it's nice. It's nice. It's good. It's something that I find meaningful for myself. And in the process of that awareness, I now have the basic tool for healthy teshuva, which is to align myself with that which I find meaningful, which gives me a sense of satisfaction, and which creates two sides to a story. Am I going to go with the fun, or there is a momentary kick of getting angry at somebody who did something wrong. I think if that was such a momentary kick, I don't think there would be billions of people doing it. There is a momentary kick associated with putting somebody down, with embarrassing somebody, with saying lashon hara about somebody, in the sense of feeling a certain superiority over the person that I'm speaking about. There is a certain gravitational pull. Question is, but there's also a transcendent pull. When I give somebody life, when I nurture, when I encourage somebody, when I give somebody some wind in their sails, when I'm there supporting and nurturing their efforts to try to grow. So that also gives me a tremendous sense of satisfaction. And now it's a question of doing some weighing and measuring. But the message of this first introduction to healthy tshuva is that it has to be something that's meaningful for me, and that there are plenty of ways of trying to do tshuva that are unhealthy, that do not give me a sense of that which is meaningful, and which instead drag me down into a place of perfectionism or a place of guilt. And so I hope that we have an opening to our conversation, that the discussion about tshuva will start to be a little bit more relevant than perhaps, okay, you got to find something that you're doing wrong, and you got to start getting it right, and you got to start making resolutions, and you got to start ticking off those resolutions and start getting it right, and you say, what for? Why would I do that? What am I trying to do? Getting some list of resolutions, trying to get it right. What am I trying to do? And the answer has to be, I'm giving myself a very satisfying sense, a very satisfying feeling. And if it doesn't have that sense, if it's a sense of, I just got to get it right, I can't afford to be a bad boy or a bad girl, then you're not taking advantage of the 7 things that were created before the world ever came to being. Thank you very much. And thank you, of course, to the Burgesses for hosting, and for the group for making these get-togethers possible. Kol Tuv.
Thank you. Thank you.